So good morning class. So this is our second session of structural design, and today we will be discussing what is limit state method. The previous class I told you that we have three different methods of design. What are those three methods? Are working stress method, next is limit state method, and ultimate load method. These are the three types of design methods prescribed. Okay. So in India we generally follow limit state method of design. Working stress method was the previous method which was taught till the last year, but now for the revised syllabus working stress method is completely removed from your syllabus. Now you only have limit state method of design. As told in the previous class, you require one code book. Okay, it is published by Bureau of Indian Standards. It is called as IS 456. If you see the title, it is written guidelines for design of plain reinforced concrete, plain and reinforced concrete. Okay. So today we'll discuss what is limit state method. So we'll start with what is meant by limit state. Okay, what is meant by limit state? Limit state, it is defined as state of impending failure. Impending failure. Okay. It is defined as the state of impending failure. Means what? Suppose you have designed a beam like this and you have applied some loading. Okay, you have applied some sort of loading on the beam. Now what happened is, because of excessive loading, now the beam has cracked and it cannot take any excessive load now. Okay, so what do you mean by impending failure? The structure has failed now. It will no longer take any load. Okay, as discussed in the previous class, I told you, you have a stress strain graph of any material like this. Okay, stress strain graph of any material will be like this. This will be the initial portion in which the stress and strain will be. Here you have the strain, here you have the stress. Stress and strain will be proportional, behaving Hooke's law. Now after this, what happens? It enters to some other zone, strain hardening zone, some other zone. Finally it goes to break point. Okay, so these are the different points to be discussed in this graph. So previously we used to design up to this limit only. In working stress method, it states that you design up to this limit only, whereas the limit state method gives you provision to design up to this last point. Okay, last point you can design the structure. So what does this mean? After this point, any structure is not capable of taking any load. Why? Because if the structure is designed up to here, still it has got some strength here. But whereas if you are designing the structure up till here, or this is called as limit state. Limit state, so it is not capable of taking any loads now. So we'll design, it is called, limit state is defined as state of impending failure, or it is also called as, also can be said as beyond which the structure will intend to fail. Okay, beyond which the structure will intend to fail. This is called as what is limit state. Okay, so there are different types of limit state given. One is limit state of collapse. Limit state of collapse, and other is limit state of serviceability. Limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. These are two types of limit state. What do you mean by limit state of collapse? Initially you design the beam, you design the structure for collapse loads. Okay, now what do we mean by serviceability? The structure should have some safety and serviceability, right? It should be able to, it should have some durability of the structure. Okay, there should be some durability in the structure. Suppose you have designed one beam, one structure, which is suppose you have designed one G+5 structure. Now how can you tell that what is the life of structure? What is the lifespan of the structure? That is discussed in serviceability. Okay, how to design will be discussed in collapse. Further, this collapse is classified into different types. One is limit state of flexure. Next is limit state of shear. Limit state of compression, shear and torsion. So these are the further classifications of limit state of collapse. So what do you mean by limit state of flexure? Flexure means what? Flexure means bending. Okay. On application of load, the beam will deflect. Okay. Create some bending moment in the beam. Using that bending moment, you will design how much reinforcement is required in the beam, what size and what reinforcement is required in the beam. Next is limit state of shear and torsion. Okay, on application of load, the beam will be subjected to shear forces and bending moment. So bending moment will be designed in flexure, shear forces will be designed in limit state of shear. Now, there will be some action of twisting also on the beam. Sometimes the beam will twist. So for that, you have limit state of torsion. Now next is limit state of compression. Okay, limit state of compression. Which member in a structure do you think is subjected to compression, compressive load? It can be column. Okay, column is subjected to compressive loads always. So this deals with design of columns. So if you see your syllabus, it is classified like this. First unit is limit state of flexure. Second unit will be limit state of shear and torsion. Third is limit state of compression. Okay, so these 3 units will give you how to design beam. Again, this includes beam, this includes column. So basically you will learn how to design slab, beam and column. So this subject has got very great importance in your life. Okay, because once you try to design, once you get interest in the design, you should never forget this subject in your life. Okay, this is the basic design subject of civil engineering. Okay, remember this. So we'll discuss what are the 3 different types of limit state in our further classes. Okay, so now next term, which is very important, is characteristic strength. Characteristic strength of material. Okay, characteristic strength of material. This is given on page number 67 of IS 456. Very important 2 marks question. What you need to do, open this page, copy the definition. Simple. Remember this one. Very important 2 marks question for final examination. Whenever you have to write this definition, open page 67, copy the definition from there. Okay, you'll get 2 marks. This is the advantage of RCC. When you carry code books to the class, remember, okay, when you have code books and you know what is where, okay, where it is you should know. So if I am mentioning the page numbers so that you remember these page numbers, it will be easy for you. Otherwise, it is a book of 150 pages. If you search for 3 hours also, you won't get this definition unless and until you remember where it is available. Okay, so characteristic strength it is defined as the strength of material This material can be steel and concrete. Okay, it can be steel and concrete. Now what it says is the strength of material below which not more than 5% test results are expected to fall. I'll explain you this one with a best example. Okay, suppose you have made 100 cubes like this of size 150 by 150 by 150 by 150 by 150. You made how many cubes? 100 cubes you made. Okay, now suppose you have designed this for M20 strength. What do you mean by M20? M20 means mixing cement, fine aggregate, coarse aggregate and water in such a proportion that you get a strength of 20 MPa after 28 days of curing. This is the meaning of this. You have generally seen in structural drawings it will be mentioned M20, M25, M30, M40 grade of concrete. Okay, this is called as grade of concrete. Concrete grade, not cement grade. Cement grade is totally different. This is the grade of concrete. Okay, so if you make a cube of 150 by 150 by 150, 100 cubes you make of M20. So what this characteristic strength says, you should get for 95 cubes, the strength should be 20 or more than 20. For 5 cubes, you can get less strength. Okay, that can be due to any error. That can be due to any casting error. It can be due to testing error. Okay, so it says you should get 95% of strength. 95% of the sample should have the strength what you have designed for. Okay, 5% of the test results are expected to fall, not more than 5%. Okay, so this is denoted by FCK. Characteristic strength for, it is called as characteristic strength for concrete. Similarly, you have FY, yield strength of steel or characteristic strength of steel. Okay, understood this definition? This is very important. If you have casted 100 cubes of this size, 95 cubes should give you the desired strength. 5% of the 5 samples are expected to give you undesired strength. Understood? Now, next is characteristic load. Characteristic load. The value of load which has 95% of the probability of not being exceeded throughout the life of structure. Okay, suppose you have designed a beam, so you designed a structure for some loading. You have considered some dead load, some live load you have considered. Now, code says you should consider that load which will not exceed in the 95% of probability. Okay, it should not exceed 95% of the probability of life of the structure. Okay, 5% chances are given in the cases of natural calamities. Okay, sometimes it happens that worst earthquake will occur in some place. So at that time, that 5% will take over that. Okay, so 95% of the probability of probable load should be considered in design. Understood? 95% of probable load. Okay, what sort of loading will come onto the structure, that has to be designed. Okay, so this is also a very important definition. Again, this is given on page number 67 of IS 456. Important definition for 2 marks. Just you need to copy from 456. Next topic you have is factor of safety. Factor of safety. It is the ratio of design load to actual load. It is a ratio of design load to actual load. Okay. Now you have a structure which is designed for some loading. Okay. Now generally the load will be applied on the structure will be less. Okay. We'll design the structure for worst case of loading. Okay. Worst case of loading. All sorts of you'll assume that all sorts of load are acting on the beam, acting on the structure. So design load by actual load. What do you mean by actual load? Which will be acting on the structure. So the ratio of these two loads will give you the factor of safety. Now factor of safety for material is also defined. Factor of safety for concrete, it is given as 1.5. Okay. Whatever strength you have for concrete, you divide that by 1.5 and use it for design. Suppose you are using M20 grade of concrete. Divide by 1.5, what strength you got, that should be used for design. Similarly, factor of safety for steel, it is given as 1.15. Okay. Now which is more, which is less? Concrete is more. For steel, the factor of safety is less. Why this is given is, steel is manufactured in companies or factories where perfect conditions are maintained. For steel you require perfect temperature, perfect compaction, everything is maintained. So this is manufactured in industries and factories where perfect conditions are maintained. But whereas this concrete, where it is manufactured on site. You will mix cement, you will mix fine aggregate and coarse aggregate to make concrete mix. Now there is more chances of having human errors in concrete. Okay. So for factor of safety for concrete is more than compared to steel. Understood? So the next topic is, we'll discuss what is limit state of flexure. This is what is your first unit. Okay. Limit state of flexure. In this topic you will be discussing how to design beams, how to design slabs. Limit state of, it is also like this, limit state of collapse, flexure. It is a classification of limit state of collapse. So limit state of collapse, you write down flexure there. Flexure means what? I told you it is nothing but bending. Okay, bending. So you will design the beam using bending moment in this case. Now, so start with, you have some assumptions given. Some assumptions are given. These are given on page number 69. Page number 69. The clause number is 38.1. If you see your code book, you will have some numbers given here. You will have some numbers here. These are called as clause numbers. Okay. So clause number 38.1 will give you assumptions. This is also very important, 2 marks question again. It will be given, write down the assumptions for limit state of collapse in flexure. Directly you need to open page number 69, copy these 7 assumptions and finish it off. Okay. So the first assumption is, I won't write on the board, I'll explain you what are the assumptions. The first assumption is, you please write down. First assumption is, plane sections normal to the axis remain plane after bending. Plane sections normal to the axis of the plane remain plane after bending. This assumption we also have discussed in, if you remember, we discussed this assumption in solid mechanics also. How many have concentrated? I don't know that. Okay, so what does this mean is, suppose you have a beam which is rectangular in cross section. This is the cross section of the beam and this is the span of the beam. Let us assume like this. If you see this is the cross section, okay, I'll draw to the scale. This is the cross section of the beam. Let us assume like that. Okay. Now you have applied some loading on this beam which has caused deflection and generated bending moments in the beam. Now what this clause says is, there is no shape distortion in the beam. Okay. This beam will deflect in longitudinal direction only. This will not have any shape distortion. मतलब क्या है? This cross section of the beam will not be distorted. It will not be changed. Okay. This won't become like this, or this won't become like this. The cross section of the beam will remain same. Of course, this is an assumption. Okay. But whereas on application of loading, there will be some minor distortion occurring in the beam, but that should be neglected. Based on the assumption, it should be neglected. Clear? So the next is, second assumption is, the maximum strain in concrete in the outermost compression fiber is given as 0.0035. Now let us define first what do you mean by compression and tension, where the compression and tension will occur in the beam. Okay, see here. If you imagine this is a simply supported beam, yes, see here, this is a simply supported beam subjected to some sort of loading. Now got deflected, right. Now see the section at the mid span. Okay, consider if you have selected one section at the mid span, what is actually happening in the beam? This beam will be deflected and the deformed shape will be like this. The shape has deformed like this now, such that these top fibers, they got compressed. They are in compression. They are completely in compression. These top fibers got compressed, whereas these bottom fibers are in tension. Okay, they are in elongation and the top part is in compression. So if you draw the stress strain diagram, suppose this is the beam. If you draw the stress strain diagram, stress diagram, if you draw, what is happening in the beam? Top part is getting compressed, bottom part is getting tensile. Now I need to draw on either side of the line because these two are opposite in nature. Compression is opposite to tension. So I am drawing on either side of the line. Now if I join these 2 points, there will be some point in the beam where there is zero compression, zero tension. So this point is called as neutral axis. Neutral axis. Okay. Above this neutral axis, all the portion of the beam will be in compression. Below the neutral axis, the portion of the beam will be in tension. Very important point to be remembered. This is completely in tension, this is completely in compression. Clear? So what this clause says is, the outermost compression fiber of the beam means what? This is the outermost compression fiber of the beam is subjected to a maximum compression of, make it as strain diagram, maximum compression of 0.0035. So what it says you that you consider strain up to this point only, such that epsilon is equal to 0.0035. Clear? Maximum strain in the top compression fiber of the beam. Top compression fiber means top part of the beam. Okay, is 0.0035. Pause karo. Next assumption, we have discussed 2 assumptions. This is the third one. Third assumption is tensile strength of the concrete is ignored. Okay, tensile strength of concrete is ignored. If you see in your assumptions column, second column, D bit, the tensile strength of concrete is ignored. What does this mean? See, we know that concrete concrete is a, let it be like this only. Concrete is a material which has got good compressive strength than compared to tensile strength. Okay, how do you test tensile strength on concrete? We'll do split tensile strength. We'll cast a cylinder like this of some IS specifications. This is given as 150. This is given as 300. I don't remember exactly. 150 and 300 is the standard dimensions given. Now this cylinder will be placed horizontally and load is applied from top. So what happens? It will try to break in these two directions, right? Load transfer will be in these two directions. Now what happens? This creates tension in the cylinder. Now this tensile strength of concrete is very less than compared to compressive strength. So what code says is you ignore this tensile strength of concrete. Okay, completely ignored. Now whatever concrete is present below the neutral axis, that concrete, you imagine that it does not have any tensile strength. Okay, you imagine that there is no concrete below neutral axis. Only concrete is present above neutral axis, which has got only compressive strength. Tensile strength of the concrete is completely ignored. Okay. Now next assumption, write down. The maximum strain in the tension reinforcement is given as the maximum strain in the tension reinforcement. Now what is happening here is, see, you imagine that you only have steel in the tension zone. Okay, only steel is present in the tension zone. Concrete is ignored. There is no concrete, you assume that. Now this total strain occurring below neutral axis should be for steel, not for concrete, right? Because you have ignored the concrete. Now only you have what is here, steel. Okay, only steel is present here. Now what code says is the maximum strain in steel should be taken equal to Fy by 1.15 Es plus 0.002. What is this Fy? Characteristic strength of steel. Okay, what is this Es? Es is Young's modulus for steel. What is this 1.15? Factor of safety for steel plus 0.002. Okay, so these are the parameters which are discussed here. But whereas for maximum strain, if you see the second assumption, what does it says? Maximum strain in concrete, it is 0.0035. For steel, you have got the values now. Okay, pause karo. Next assumption, fourth assumption. It says the relationship between compressive stress distribution in concrete and the strain in concrete may be assumed to be rectangular, trapezoid parabola, or any other shape which results in prediction of strength. Okay, this is directly given in code book. If you want, you can write down. I'll explain you what does this says. See, this is the stress strain distribution for concrete.